The Secret Garden: Why a Plate of Green Could Be the Key to Living Longer. Have you ever wondered what separates those who merely grow old from those who grow old gracefully? Not just aging, but truly thriving in your 70, 80s, or even 90, with sharp eyes, strong legs, and a heart full of energy. What if the answer wasn't hidden in a pill bottle or a complicated fitness routine, but in something far simpler, something green, vibrant, and already sitting quietly in your refrigerator? It's easy to overlook vegetables when talking about health and longevity. They're not flashy. They don't come with dramatic marketing or celebrity endorsements. But for countless elders around the world, those who live well into their 90s without chronic disease, the secret lies in the colors on their plate. Especially the deep, dark greens, the golden orange roots, the humble cruciferous buds, and the leafy herbs once passed down from grandmother's gardens. This isn't a story about nutrition facts or diet trends. This is a journey, one filled with stories of resilience, memory, independence, and the powerful role vegetables play in preserving what matters most as we age: our vitality. In the next chapters, you'll meet remarkable elders whose lives change simply by adding a handful of spinach or steaming a few florets of broccoli. You'll learn how kale protects your bones, how sweet potatoes soothe digestion, and how bok choy quietly boosts your immune system. You'll discover the science, yes, but also the soul of these vegetables. Most importantly, you'll gain tools to help you or your loved ones stay strong, think clearly, move freely, and smile more often, all by honoring the healing power of nature's most underestimated gifts. So if you've ever felt the stiffness in your knees, the fog in your thoughts, or the dip in your energy and thought, "Is this just old age?" Stay with me, because this story might gently rewrite what's possible in your next chapter. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Spinach, the gentle warrior for aging bones and clearer eyes. When Margaret turned 74, she began to notice something subtle but troubling. She struggled to read the morning paper unless the light was just right. Her legs, once strong and stable, began to feel less sure. But it wasn't until she missed the last step on her porch one afternoon that she truly felt afraid. The doctor's visit confirmed what she feared: age, bone thinning, and early signs of macular degeneration. It was a hard moment. But instead of prescribing only pills, her physician gave her something else. Something Margaret never expected. "Add more spinach to your meals," he said. "Not a sprinkle, a cup, every single day." Spinach? It felt too simple, but Margaret tried. She sautéed it with garlic and olive oil. She added it raw to her morning smoothies. She even folded it into her scrambled eggs. 3 months later, the changes surprised even her. Her vision stabilized, her balance improved, and most unexpectedly, her energy lifted. She began walking again in the park without her cane. Not far, not fast, but free. The secret? Spinach is packed with vitamin K, lutein, and zeaxanthin, nutrients that protect aging eyes and strengthen bones. Vitamin K supports calcium absorption, reducing fracture risk. Lutein and zeaxanthin guard against vision loss. For seniors whose bones become fragile and eyes more vulnerable, spinach becomes more than just a leafy green. It becomes a guardian. You don't need to eat bowls of it. A handful a day, slightly cooked or raw, is enough to begin reshaping your strength from the inside out. Margaret's story isn't unique. It's just one reminder that aging isn't about giving in. It's about giving your body what it's been missing. And sometimes, it starts with something as small as a leaf. Chapter 2. Kale, the bone builder with a noble heart. David had always prided himself on being independent. Even after turning 80, he still mowed his own lawn, fixed his leaky faucets, and carried his groceries up 2 flights of stairs. But things began to shift the day he slipped in his kitchen while reaching for a glass of water. A fractured hip, 6 weeks of limited movement, and the question that haunted him: how did this happen so fast? The answer, his doctor gently explained, had been building for years. Low bone density. Quiet, invisible, but dangerous. That's when David's daughter stepped in, not with medicine, but with meals. She filled his freezer with soups and casseroles, but most importantly, she added a green that would soon change everything: kale. Kale wasn't something David grew up eating, but as he learned, it was no ordinary vegetable. Packed with calcium, vitamin K, and antioxidants, kale helps fortify bones and reduce inflammation, two keys to avoiding future falls and fractures. Vitamin K, often lacking in senior diets, plays a critical role in bone mineralization, guiding calcium to the right places and preventing it from building up in arteries. At first, David was skeptical, but within months he began to notice subtle changes. His knees ached less when he climbed stairs, and his posture straightened without him trying. His follow-up scans even showed improved bone density. Kale became his quiet hero. He now sautés it with garlic, bakes it into chips, and blends it into his morning smoothie. It doesn't take much, a handful, a few times a week. What matters is consistency. And for David, it gave him something he feared he'd lost, confidence in his body. Chapter 3. Bok Choy, the immune booster in disguise. Maria, a retired school teacher in her late 70s, used to get sick every winter. Coughs, fevers, fatigue, she chalked it up to age. "I guess this is just what happens after 70, she would say with a tired smile. That was before her granddaughter, a young nutritionist, visited for Thanksgiving and gently challenged that idea. "You're not weak, Grandma. Your immune system just needs better tools." And one of those tools came in the form of a humble, crisp, leafy green, bok choy. Delicate in taste but mighty in nutrition, bok choy is rich in vitamins A, C, and K, a trio that works wonders for the aging immune system. Vitamin A strengthens mucous membranes, the body's first line of defense. Vitamin C boosts white blood cell production, and vitamin K reduces inflammation throughout the body. Maria started small, adding chopped bok choy to soups, steaming it with garlic, tossing it in stir-fries. After a few weeks, she noticed she wasn't as tired in the afternoons. Her colds were shorter, lighter. That winter, for the first time in years, she didn't fall sick. More than that, she began to feel in control again. A green vegetable had offered her not just nutrients, but hope. Hope that health didn't have to fade with age. Bok choy had become her quiet defender, her green shield. Chapter 4. Mustard greens for strong joints and sharper vision. Henry was once a marathon walker. Even into his 60s, he loved his long, quiet strolls through the park at sunrise. But by 74, his knees ached constantly, and he struggled with stiffness that made even getting out of bed a slow process. "I guess my joints are just tired," he sighed to his doctor. But his doctor smiled and said something surprising. "They're not tired, Henry. They're undernourished." He recommended something simple. Add mustard greens to your meals, twice a week. Mustard greens, often overshadowed by flashier superfoods, are powerhouses of vitamin K and antioxidants that specifically target inflammation in joints. They're also rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, compounds known to protect the eyes from age vision loss. Henry was skeptical, but he tried. He sautéed mustard greens with olive oil and garlic, added a handful to his scrambled eggs, blended a few leaves into his smoothie. Within a month, he noticed the change. Less swelling in the morning, fewer sharp pains in the knees, and perhaps best of all, he no longer needed to squint when reading the newspaper. Mustard greens didn't make him young again, but they made him feel capable again. They gave him back his walks, his books, his quiet joy. And that was everything. Chapter 5. Broccoli, a green guard against disease. In a quiet kitchen in Minnesota, Margaret stirred her evening soup while humming an old hymn. At 78, she had lived through decades of love, loss, and laughter. But nothing had frightened her more than the word her doctor had spoken just a year earlier: precancerous. Though the danger had been caught early, it left her shaken. "I don't want to live in fear," she told her daughter. "I want to live in strength." Her daughter, a nurse, gently replied, "Then we start with your plate." And that's when broccoli entered Margaret's life, like an old friend she'd forgotten. Not just a side dish, broccoli became her daily protector, rich in sulforaphane, a plant compound studied for its remarkable ability to fight off inflammation, oxidative stress, and cancer-promoting enzymes. It was also loaded with vitamin C, which boosted her immune system, and fiber, which helped her digestion stay steady through the years. At first, she steamed it. Then she learned to roast it with turmeric and lemon. She even blended it into creamy green soups that comforted her soul as much as her body. The changes were subtle, but powerful. Her energy returned, Her follow-up scans looked better, but most of all her fear turned into confidence, not just because broccoli had magical health. She was choosing to stand tall, one meal at a time. Broccoli didn't just fill her plate, it filled her with hope. Chapter 6. The Power of Orange, Carrots, and Sweet Potatoes. There was something about the color orange that always made Samuel smile. At 83, the retired art teacher believed that color carried emotion. Blue calms, red energizes, he would say, but orange gives you warmth. It reminds you to stay alive. It wasn't just the autumn leaves outside his window or the glow of his fireplace. It was also what sat on his plate. Carrots and sweet potatoes, roasted until tender, seasoned with olive oil, rosemary, and just a dash of sea salt. What began as a comfort food soon became part of Samuel's daily wellness ritual. Carrots, with their rich beta-carotene, supported his eyesight, which had grown weaker over the years. His doctor explained how vitamin A helps maintain eye health, especially in aging adults. It also boosts immune function, helping the body stay resilient through winter colds and seasonal infections. Sweet potatoes, on the other hand, were his digestive allies. Fiber, vitamin C, potassium, and complex carbs gave him gentle energy throughout the day without spiking his blood sugar like refined foods once did. They soothed his stomach and supported his heart. "They remind me of sunshine," Samuel would say, slicing into a warm wedge. "They light me up from the inside." He'd often share his meals with his neighbors, other seniors in his community building, hosting small orange dinners where everyone brought a dish featuring carrots or sweet potatoes. It was more than nutrition, it became connection, joy, and a celebration of growing older with grace. Carrots and sweet potatoes didn't promise immortality, but to Samuel, they brought back color, clarity, and community, a daily reminder that even in old age, one could still feel nourished, loved, and full of purpose. Chapter 7. The Hidden Hero, Fish Mint. In the quiet kitchen of Mrs. Lan, age 79, a simple bowl of soup simmered gently. Steam rose with a faint herbal scent, water pennywort or fish mint. Not everyone loved its strong taste, but Mrs. Lamb believed in its quiet power. She had grown up eating it, never realizing its rich calcium content helped maintain strong bones and teeth. After a minor fall 5 years ago, her doctor warned her about bone density loss, common in the elderly. But instead of relying only on supplements, she returned to her roots. She added water pennywort into broths, salads, even wrapped it with tofu and rice noodles. It wasn't flashy, but it was real. It was familiar. And it worked. Over time, her bone scans stabilized, her digestion improved, and most of all, she felt more connected to her culture, her past, and her health. "Sometimes," she whispered to her granddaughter one day, "the most powerful things don't shout. They whisper and heal you quietly." Final thoughts and thank you. As we wrap up this journey through nature's most healing greens, remember this. Your plate holds power. Power to strengthen your bones. Power to protect your heart. Power to brighten your eyes. Power to keep your spirit strong. No matter your age, it's never too late to start feeding your body the kindness it deserves. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you or reminded you of someone you care about, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content for people just like you. And don't forget, we'll see you in the next video with more ways to live longer, feel stronger, and age with joy. Take care.